On a cold, rainy night, Ethan Parker, single father, night shift waiter, and a man who carried exhaustion in his bones, cleared the last table of his shift. The storm outside battered the windows hard enough to make the old maple diner tremble. The kind of rain that made the neon sign flicker and the front door whistle. It was close to midnight, and he wanted nothing more than to get home to his little girl. The elegant woman in the black Armani suit had sat for over an hour, nursing a single cup of coffee. No phone, no laptop, no book, no expression that gave away a single thought. Then she left without leaving $1 in tips. Just an empty plate and a folded envelope tucked beneath the rim. When Ethan unfolded it and saw the refined handwriting, the message inside stopped his heart cold. A billionaire left $0. But hidden underneath was something that could change everything for him and for his little girl. Rain sheeted down harder as Ethan refilled Joe's coffee for the third time that night. Old Maple Diner sat on the forgotten edge of town, where the streetlights flickered and the pavement cracked. The kind of place nobody came unless they had to, a quiet refuge for the worn-out and overlooked. Friday nights brought the usual crowd. Truck drivers killing time before their next haul. Factory workers too tired to cook. College kids counting quarters for a cup of coffee that had to last them 3 hours. Ethan had worked these tables for 5 years, long enough to memorize orders, long enough to know who needed company and who wanted to be left alone. Before that, he wrote code for a software company downtown. Decent salary, health insurance, a life that made sense. But then Emily, his wife, his steady place in a chaotic world, died in a car accident on a Tuesday afternoon. Their daughter, Lily, had been just 2. Someone had to be there when she woke up, when she cried, when she whispered, "Daddy, don't go." Someone had to make breakfast, tie her shoes, read her bedtime stories, and hold her when she missed her mother. So Ethan quit. Night shifts paid just enough to keep the lights on and let be a father during the hours that mattered. He was 34 now, though some days he felt closer to 50. His uniform was clean but threadbare at the elbows. His smile came easy, not because his life was easy, but because he'd learned that kindness cost nothing. And in a place like this, kindness was the only currency that meant anything. Most customers never bothered learning his name, but he knew all of theirs. Joe sat at the counter, his trucker cap pushed back, telling the same story about hauling refrigerators to Montana in a blizzard. Ethan listened like he hadn't heard it twice before. "You're going to fall asleep at the wheel if you keep drinking coffee this late," Ethan teased lightly. Joe snorted. "You worry too much, kid." But he pushed the empty whiskey glass away anyway, earning a small smile from Ethan. In booth 3, Sarah hunched over her textbook. 19, working her way through community college, her coffee long cold. Ethan had watched her count out coins more than once, turning red when she came up short. Tonight she had ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, and when he brought the check, he'd already crossed out the total. "Ethan, I can't," she whispered. "You can," he answered gently. "Pay it forward someday." Her eyes glistened. Ethan quietly moved to the next table before she could argue. At 9 p.m., his phone buzzed. He stepped into the back, where Marcus scrubbed the grill. "It's Lily," Ethan said. Marcus nudged his chin without looking up. "Go on." Ethan answered on the second ring. "Daddy, I miss you." Her voice was small, sleepy, the kind of voice that made guilt twist in his chest. "I miss you too, sweetheart. I'll be home late, but Mrs. Henderson is right next door if you need anything, okay?" "Okay. I just wanted to say good night." "Good night," he whispered, but after she hung up, he stood there staring at the cracked tile floor for a long time. 5 years of missing bedtime. 5 years of missing school plays. 5 years of walking home alone under streetlights that hummed and buzzed and didn't belong to him. Emily used to say he was the best father she knew. He wondered what she would think now. When he walked back out, he noticed a woman in the corner booth for the first time. Really noticed her. She didn't belong here. Her black Armani suit was sharp and perfectly tailored. Her watch caught the fluorescent light. Her handbag was leather, so fine it looked soft even from across the room. And she watched, silently, carefully, Too observant for someone who supposedly just wanted coffee. Ethan approached with the pot. "Warm up for you, ma'am." She looked up. Dark eyes. Measuring. The kind of gaze that saw too much. "It's fine," she said, her tone smooth and detached. Something about her made him uneasy. Customers like her rarely came to places like this. And when they did, they never stayed for an hour. Across the diner, Joe was getting loud again. Ethan caught his eye, and Joe quieted instantly, sheepish. Sarah mouthed, "Thank you," from her booth. The woman in the corner watched all of it. At 10:30, she finally rose. She walked to the counter with the poise of someone used to owning every room she entered. "Just a coffee and pie?" Ethan asked. "Yes." He totaled it, $8.50. She handed him a credit card without a word. He ran it, returned the receipt, and she left the merchant copy on the counter before walking into the rain. Ethan glanced down. Blank tip line. A graceful number 0. The disappointment hit him harder than he wanted to admit. Rich customers rarely tip well. But something about her, that quiet attention, the hours she'd spent watching, made the 0 sting. He sighed, folded the receipt, and moved to clear her table. That was when he saw it. The envelope, crisp, white, folded once. On the outside, in delicate handwriting, for the waiter who remembers names. Confusion prickled in his chest. Ethan picked it up. His hands, for some reason, trembled. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a business card. The letter read, "I need to see you. This is not charity. This is a proposal. Come to Hale Industries tomorrow at 10 a.m. Ask for Victoria Hale. Don't ignore this." The business card was heavy, embossed with gold lettering. Victoria Hale CO, Hale Industries. Ethan's breath caught. He knew that name. Everyone did. One of the richest self-made women in the country. Tech empire. Philanthropy. Forbes lists. Magazine covers. She was a person who moved through the world like she wrote the rules. And she had just sat in his diner for an hour, left a $0 tip, and told him to come see her. His first thought, it's a prank. His second, it's a scam. Rich people did not leave notes for waiters. They didn't care what happened after they walked out the door. But he remembered the way she'd watched him, quietly, intently, almost like she was studying him. He slipped the note into his pocket and finished his shift in a fog. By the time he got home, it was 2:30 a.m. He checked on Lily first. She was asleep, curled around her stuffed rabbit, hair tangled on the pillow, little breasts puffing softly. He stood there longer than necessary, because she was his reason for everything. His phone buzzed with an email. Subject: important update on tuition. He read it twice. Next semester tuition was increasing from $1,200 to $2,500. His bank account had $340. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the wall as panic settled in his gut. Lily couldn't transfer schools. Not after everything she'd lost. Not after losing her mother. Her friends, her teachers, her routines. This school was stability. But $2,500? He didn't have it. He couldn't get it. The note in his pocket seemed to burn. A billionaire. A proposal. A meeting at 10 a.m. It made no sense. But if there was even a 1% chance it could help Lily, he had to try. He lay awake until sunrise, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain soften. At 6 a.m., Lily crawled into his bed. "Daddy, did you sleep good?" "I did," he lied. "I dreamed about Mommy," she whispered. "She said she was proud of us." His chest tightened. He held her close. By mid-morning, he had made his decision. He would go to Hale Industries. Not because he trusted her, but because giving up would be breaking the promise he made Emily the night before she died. Give her the life I couldn't. And he was trying. God, he was trying. Eleanor had always believed she understood poverty. She donated every year. She funded shelters. She attended galas where charity was treated like a red carpet event. She thought she'd seen hardship, understood struggle, but she never understood this. Not the kind that forced a man to choose toothpaste for his daughter over warm socks for his own feet. Not the kind that made a father count each item twice and apologize to no one in particular, even though he was buying nothing for himself. Not the kind where a child said she was used to being cold. She felt something unfamiliar break inside her, something brittle, something that wealth had once wrapped in armor and called strength. She didn't feel strong now. She felt human. When she finally stepped toward him, he stiffened, clearly ready to hand the card back and disappear before she changed her mind. "Michael," she said softly, "where's the food for you?" He blinked, confused. "The what?" "I saw the receipts. Everything is for Lily. Everything." "I'll eat at work," he said with a shrug, though she could see the faint tremble in his hands. "They always throw away the crust from the sandwiches. I can have those. Not a big deal." She pressed a hand to her chest, trying to steady her breath. Lily tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy doesn't eat a lot. Sometimes I pretend to sleep, so he'll take a bite." He exhaled sharply, embarrassment reddening his cheeks. "Lily," she hugged his leg, "but I don't sleep all the way. I check. He still doesn't take any." Billionaire felt the final thread snap. This wasn't a cute story. This was an inspiring tale of sacrifice. This was a reality of someone drowning while keeping someone else afloat. And she had tested him. Her knees weakened. She had tested this man who was using broken shoelaces as belt loops. Michael swallowed. "Look, you don't have to feel bad. I wasn't expecting anything. You saw us and helped. That's enough." But it wasn't. Not anymore. "I need you both to come with me," she said, voice trembling but firm. They hesitated. Lily looked up at her father again, awaiting permission for everything, like always. Michael touched her shoulder. "It's okay. Miss Kensington helped us once. She won't hurt us." When they reached the street, her driver pulled up, confused to see two new passengers. The homeless man hesitated. I'm not sure we're allowed in that car." "You're allowed anywhere I am," she said, opening the door for them herself. Lily gasped at the leather seats, sliding her small fingers across the stitching like she was touching treasure. Michael sat rigidly, as if the weight of the cushions alone was too soft for someone like him. They drove to an upscale department store. Huge glass windows, gold-trimmed doors, holiday decorations sparkling like a movie set. He froze again. "Billionaire, this place is too expensive." She looked at his shoes, thin-soled, cracked, the fabric tearing. "That's the point." Inside, the heat blasted warm air. Lily laughed as her frozen fingers thawed. A greeter looked them up and down, expression tightening. But Billionaire stepped forward before the woman could utter a word. "They're with me." Just 3 words, but her tone made it clear she meant business. She brought them to the children's section first. Lily kept turning to her father for approval, and every single time, he tried to choose the smallest, cheapest options. "Pick what you like." Billionaire insisted gently. Lily hesitated, then reached for a little yellow jacket with a furry hood that made her look like a tiny sunbeam. She twirled slowly in the mirror, smiling at her reflection, like she wasn't sure the girl looking back was really her. Michael pressed a hand over his mouth. He wasn't used to seeing her smile without reservation. They continued, shoes, warm leggings, a pair of boots lined with faux fur. Lily's squeals were soft, almost apologetic, as if joy itself needed permission. For the first time since Alina met her, she giggled. Pure, bright, childhood giggling. It was the kind of sound money couldn't buy. When they reached the men's section, Michael paused, glancing at her nervously. "Are you sure?" "You made sure your daughter had everything first," she said. "Let me make sure you do too." He looked like he wanted to argue, but didn't have the strength. The man tried on a warm winter coat, a pair of jeans that actually fit, sturdy boots. When he stepped out of the fitting room, Lily gasped. "Daddy, you look like a superhero." His throat worked as he tried to swallow emotion. "Do I?" "Yes," she said confidently. "Like you fight cold weather monsters." He laughed through the tears forming in his eyes. Billionaire turned away discreetly, giving him a moment to breathe. By the time evening arrived, she had taken them both to dinner. Nothing extravagant, just warm soup, fresh bread, and chicken that didn't come from a discount bin. Michael ate slowly at first, as if unsure if he was allowed to enjoy it. Lily fell asleep halfway through her meal, tiny head resting on her father's arm. Elinor watched him stroke her hair gently, his fingers careful and warm. "You're a good father," she whispered. He shook his head. "I'm trying, but it doesn't seem enough." "It is," she said softly. "It always was." He met her eyes then, really met them, and something passed between them. Something quiet, raw, and honest. Not pity, not charity. Recognition. Two worlds colliding, not in judgment, but in understanding. After dinner, she brought them to a modest hotel she owned. The kind with soft beds, warm water, and a receptionist who didn't judge people based on their shoes. 2 nights, she told the clerk. Michael stepped back. "Elinor, that's 2. It's not up for debate." He tried again, gently. "Why are you doing all this?" She inhaled slowly. Because she had been wrong. Because she had tested him. And because he had shown her what real love looked like. "Because you deserve someone on your side," she said. "Just once. Just one person to say you matter. That you're not invisible." Silence settled between them. Then, voice raw, he whispered, "Thank you." She handed him a key card and knelt beside Lily, brushing a stray curl from her forehead. "You're safe tonight," she told her gently. The little girl yawned and murmured, "Safe with angels." Michael lifted her into his arms. "Come on, sweetheart." Before walking away, he turned to Elinor one last time. "If I ever get back on my feet, I'll pay you back." She shook her head. "Just take care of her. That's all the payment I could ever want." He smiled softly, the kind of smile that came from somewhere deep, an exhausted heart given a moment of rest. And then he disappeared into the hallway, carrying his entire world in his arms. Outside, the city lights blurred through her tears. The wind chilled her skin, but she barely felt it, because inside that hotel, a man and his daughter were finally warm. Not because she was a billionaire, not because she had a credit card, but because kindness, real, raw, unpolished kindness, was the one thing that truly changed lives. And tonight, it changed hers too.